Good afternoon, you YouTubes. We move along, cracking on with the Tony Nyehouse 47-inch wingspan DH 98 Mosquito. The fuselage, bar the tail piece, which we'll follow on later, is resting up in the jig over there. I've just smoothed off the nose cone, and now the next stage, according to Tony's wonderful instructions, are the nacelles. Oh, look at that. Who's that lovely young chap, as he was then back in 2006? Anyway, his instructions are, next is the nacelles. Here's the two motors that's going to power this beastie. The nacelle structure is very straightforward, same kind of style, two sheets at the sides, thick bits of bolts at top and bottom, but all that's sort of like laid out for an old fashioned 20 years out of date electric system. These motors sit on big fat X mounts and they're big chunky things. So the first thing I'm going to probably be doing is working out where I've got to put in the firewall for the motors, and then crucially I've got to come down to this plan view, work out the deflection. No, this is on the port side, of course, but the deflection will be on the starboard pod nacelle, and on the port one it's 0 degrees down thrust, 0 degrees side thrust, but on the starboard one it's 0 degrees down thrust, 2 degrees of right thrust, same as the other little Mosquito lurking over there. But before I do that, I'm just going to put the bits and bobs on the motor, so I've got everything prepared and I can start taking my measurements, deciding where the firewalls, plural, are going to go, whether I'm going to deflect the firewall or use spacing washers to provide the 2 degrees thrust. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get cracking. Can't wait. Here we go. Okay, these are most of the component parts for the two engine nacelles. When I got all this wood over a year ago, I went through and sort of labelled everything. Wasn't quite sure why there were 2 former 25s. Two of them are these two, plywood 3mm, and then a balsa one there, but it's all quite straightforward. Tony, in his infinite wisdom, of course, has allowed for the variances between IC power and electric DC power. So what I'm going to do is construct the thing and heavily customize these pieces here, the engine bearer mounts. I think he's intending those to be. Plan calls for 4mm and they're 3mm, but it's going to be such an arcane shape to sort of drop into and cut in inside these sort of like drops between these like bits here, which provides some thickness to cut into and sand into to get the roundness, but it's going to enable something to sort of lock in quite tight, but it's going to need a lot of work to make these things. I've called them 25M, M for motor. Yeah, to make them sort of fit in. I've been vacillating. I took photographs earlier this morning of calculations of offsets and things like that, and deciding, was I going to do the mounts for the engines actually themselves offset, or am I going to go the route of building everything square and then using little washers shims to create the 2 degrees right thrust on the starboard motor and nacelle. I think I'm going to build them straight and use the shim method. So some of my calculations from earlier are a bit, superfluous, but they will help. They will help sort of inform the build. Bits that are visible are going to be the sheeting. There's solid sheets here which are still to be cut out. They are down here. I won't need those for a while. So we've got these bits here for the top and lower decking on the nacelles, but on the rear you close up the sides and then put a piece of block balsa on the back and shape that. Now if you have a look at the curve on that nacelle, it's really severe from the lead. If you look at the leading edge of the wing, drop right down 25, and from that point backwards he recommends cross grain balsa to achieve that curve. It's going to be the only way it can be done. I'm sort of tempted to put an extra little fillet of small triangular wood or something in there to help shape it a bit, because it looks a bit sharp on the finished product. But anyway, that's where we are. That's where we are. Well, I am. You're not. You're watching with a cup of tea, hopefully, or coffee, or whatever beverage takes your fancy. Anyway, yeah, one of the most technical parts of the build starts now. So let's get stuck into the nacelles. Here we go. Okay, this is where I'm going to deviate from Tony's instructions purely because of logistics. This motor sits on an X mount. The original spec motor, whatever it was, speed 780 or whatever it was, bolted bigly, straight onto the front of the nose ring. But we're not doing that. We've got this X mount thing, and I've got to put in, notice the holes for mounting the X mount in the corners, and I've got to put in 12mm Philip balsa. You can see what the problem there is, can't you? It's not the X mount itself and the bolts and shims to produce the side thrust means that this thing has got to be significantly hacked into, and I'll glue that in afterwards. Tony says put it in now before you put the formers in, but I want to know that this former is absolutely in the right place because it is crucial that everything lines up. I've got datum mark lines, as you can see. I've got the thrust line on the side piece just there, and I've got the thrust line cutting across there, so when the two meet up I shall know that everything's in the right place. But yeah, I've got to deviate from the norm. It's just the way it goes. Anyway, public service announcement over.